So today we're going to build this dark themed website in Elementor. It is something really cool, very unique. As you scroll down, you can see all these different elements here coming into play. This is not a beginner style type of website. I can guarantee you that. There's a lot of elements that are coming into play here, especially in this section over here, where you can actually hover and do all these really cool things here, and these buttons and everything work pretty well. There's a lot of multi-layers going on over here, and it looks absolutely great. All other pages are also designed over here. So here we have the About Us, really awesome designed page over here. Our team also, great type of design over here, that glowing around really highlights as the mouse is going over. And of course the Contact Us. Here you can see this is that whole faded effect here in this contact form. There's no added paid plugins here. So everything you see here was using free plugins. But like I mentioned, this is not a beginner website. And if you want to download this entire working website, including the themes, plugins, pages, contact form, the whole thing, there's going to be a link in the description of this video where you have the option to go and download it. And it has its own video of how to easily install it on a new copy of WordPress. But today in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to design the home page. When you've actually finished designing the home page, then all the other pages are going to be very easy for you because a lot of elements you can just copy over. So let me show you how to build this website. Okay, a couple of things before we get started. In the description of this video, there's going to be a link with a reference page. On that page, you're going to find all the images I'm going to be using in the tutorial. It's all collected in one zip file, and you can just go and download that, and you'll definitely have everything I'm going to be using in this tutorial. Something else that you're just going to have to know just to speed everything along, I made a whole bunch of global colors and global fonts. So for the actual fonts that I used, here the primary is outfit, secondary is outfit, accent is outfit. The text is enter. So that'll help you speed everything along over there. And then for the colors, here is all the colors that I've used inside this website. So have a look at all of these, your global colors, and that's going to help you a lot there as well. Then finally, things like the buttons, you're going to see that the text color and that I've made already white. And the colors that we were referencing is going to be that purple that you saw in the global colors, as well as the gradient of that blue. So these are the buttons there. So you can also see when I hover that it does a whiter glow. So the whiter glow was the box shadow, and you can see the horizontal is at -25, blur 20, and spread was -10, just to bring it in. So as long as you see that there, then everything's good. And then just one more final thing in the global settings is the background. The background is set to this blue over here, which is that 05011B. Okay, so all that combined is going to speed up this whole build. With all that out the way, let's build this page right over here. So the first thing you're going to need is definitely this window right here. It's the site structure. It's that button over there for the structure. You are going to need it because we have to make sure we're doing everything in the right containers. So let's start this off with our first container. So we're going to go Flexbox and that container right there. Now for the settings of this, we're going to keep it boxed, and we are going to put the width at 720 pixels. The direction is horizontal, and the space is space between. The gaps here we're going to set to 0. Now if we go to style, we are going to put a background picture. So the picture we're looking for is this gradient of blue to purple right there. We're going to say insert, and then the settings for this is going to be position top center, then repeat is going to be no repeat, and display size is cover. Then if we go down to background overlay, this is going to be a gradient. The first color is going to be this extra light background, this purple over here. But we're going to take down transparency all the way to just under 50% somewhere. Then the second color is going to be this dark background. Then the location is going to be maybe about an 85%. Then the type is going to be radial. It's going to be top center, and the opacity can be 1. Then if we go to advanced, the padding here we're going to uncheck, and then the top is going to be 7 pixels. Okay, so now we've done with that, we're going to add our second container. So it's going to be this container over here. This is going to be full width, so we don't have to worry about that. but everything here is going to be centered. Then the padding over here we have to uncheck as well. This is also going to be 7. Then the right is going to be 2, the bottom is going to be 7, and the left is going to be 2. Okay, now inside this container we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to need 3 headings and another container. So let's go and do that now. So here's our first heading. We are going to duplicate it twice, and let's go get a container. We'll put that at the bottom. So for the settings of the first one, we're going to change the text here to welcome to the example, because that is what we're building right over here. The type is H1. It's going to be centered. The text color is going to be white. The typography is outfit. We're doing it at 18, 600, a semi-bold. It will be uppercase. The line height can be EM 1.2. And the letter spacing here, we're going to be putting it to maybe 3. Then in advanced, we're going to uncheck the padding here as well. Then the top's going to be 3, the right's going to be 14, the bottom's going to be 3, and the left is going to be 14. Then while we're here in advanced, we're going to go over to border. Now this is going to be solid. The border width is going to be 1, and the border radius is going to be 30. The color here, we're going to give it a light blue. So this one right there. So we are doing that sort of look. Then the second heading is this path to excellence. So let's go and do that one. The second heading, the text is going to be your path to excellence. This one can be an H2. The alignment is going to be center. This is also going to be white. And the typography is outfit with a 61. And the weight is going to be 700. The line height is going to be an EM of 1. And the letter spacing is going to be a -1. Now, while we're here, we're going to change this into mobile, and the text size here is going to be 32. And if we click on the top one under style and typography, this one should be about an 18. So that's the type of look that we're going for. Now we can go click on to the desktop now, and we can do our third heading. The third one is going to be the normal Latin text that we put into a normal text editor. This one we did it as a heading because we have the H1 and H2s. So this one is just going to be a normal div. So it'll complement you in the SEO there. The alignment of this one is going to be center. The text here is also going to be white. And then the sizing of this, it's going to be enter, and it's going to be at a 14. The weight of this can be 300, and everything else can be 0. Now let's go on to this container. So what we want over here is we want the direction to be horizontal, and then we're going to put everything in the center there. And that includes the align items. So then in advance, we're just going to set the padding to 0. Now inside this, we're going to be putting in 2 buttons. So we'll go get those buttons, add it there, and duplicate. Now all those settings and the global settings of a button will come into effect over here. So for the text of the first one, we're going to say get started, and then obviously that's going to be a link to a page. Then in style, we're just going to make sure that it's in the center, and we've got all the other settings for the button. So your text and that will be uppercase there for the button, obviously. Then for the second button, this one we're going to have to change a little bit. So for the text of this one, we're going to say learn more. Then it has its link as well. The style of this is going to be center. The text color here is going to be white. The background type, we are going to choose a classic, and we are going to make sure that it is transparent. The background of this, we're going to choose the gradient over here, and we're going to make both transparent. Now you have to choose gradient just so it doesn't mess with the site global colors. So both is going to be gradient, both is going to be set to 0. Then when we hover, we have to do those colors here again, because otherwise it does that sort of thing. So in hover mode, the first color, we just make sure it's in gradient. The first color is going to be that purple, and the second color is going to be that blue again. So we'll do that sort of thing so it kicks back then. Transition can be about 0.5. The degrees, we're going to set this to about a 95. So it does like that. And then we're going to be moving down here into border. So this is going to be a solid. The width is going to be 1. The border color is going to be that blue. So it's going to be that accent color like that. And then that's all we really need to do with that. So now we've got this section over here. Now we're going to be building this section. So over here, we're going to need a new container. So we're going to say Flexbox and that one right there. The settings of this, we don't have to change too much. We just have to go to advanced and we can set this to 0. Then inside here, we're going to have to put in a new container. So we're going to be doing, so this is the effect that we're going to be doing over here with that container. So we need to put in that container over there. So we're going to go get that new container there. Then for settings of this, we're going to change this to boxed, and the gaps over here are going to be 0. Then under style, the colors of this are going to change a bit. We do have to do a gradient. Then it's going to be the smooth dark background color, this milky purple. Then the second color is going to be this dark background color over there, and everything else is fine here. Then under background overlay, we are going to choose an image, and it's going to be this one right over here. So select. The settings for this is going to be center, repeat can be no repeat, and this one is going to be contain. So it sits like that. This is how it's actually going to end up looking like. Then for the opacity, we're going to set this to about a 0.7. Then if we go into border, we are going to actually make this a solid with a border width of 1. And then the border color can be this background purple over here. The border radius here is going to be set to 10. Now inside this, we're going to need 2 containers. So we go and get that first container, put it in, and then we can duplicate it. Now inside this container, we're going to be putting in a heading. And then inside the second container, we are going to be putting in images. We will just put one for now as a placeholder because we are going to duplicate it quite a few times. So for the settings of this first container that we've just put in, the content width is going to be boxed, and then the width is going to be 640. And then if we go to padding, it's going to be 2 all around. Then for the settings of the heading over here, the text is going to be join over Turner Plus businesses to create their unique brand designs. This can also be an H2. Then under style, this is going to be center. The text color is going to be white. The typography, it's going to be outfit. This is going to be a 35. It's going to be a 600 semi-bold. The line height is going to be an EM of 1.2. Then the letter spacing is going to be a -1. Then if we go into mobile, we just have to make sure that this is going to be set at 30. Okay, we are getting there. Now, let's move on to the second container. Now for the settings of the second container, we need the direction to be horizontal. This can also be set to boxed. We're not going to be putting in any sort of width over here in pixels, but the spacing, the justify content, we are going to be putting space between. Then here on wrap, we are going to check the wrap around, and we don't need to do anything over there. So now for the image of this, we're going to be selecting all those logos that I gave you. So we're going to select the first one and we're going to go and put it in. And then just under style here quick. The height over here, we're going to be putting it at 49. The object fit is going to be contain. And then the opacity here is going to be set at 0.4. Okay, so it does that whole grayish look there, but still highlights the background. So this now we are going to duplicate until we have about 8 images. So we'll duplicate this. There's the first 4, and then keep doing until we have 8. Okay, so now the second one, what we're going to do is we're just going to have to change all the images. So we'll just take the second one there, third one, we choose to the third, fourth, fifth, sixth one. Here we can choose this one, and so forth until you have all 8. Okay, so now we've done all that. Let's just close this up over here, because now we're going to be adding the next section. So for the next one, here we're going to be adding our first container, and for the settings of this, we are going to keep it boxed. We're going to make it horizontal. This one we're also putting space between and a gap of 0. Then under advanced, we are going to deselect the padding, and the top's going to be 7 and the bottom is going to be 7. Now inside this, we're going to have to be putting in a new container. So we go get the container and we're going to put it in. And here we are just going to duplicate it one more time. So now we have 2 here side by side. So for the settings of this first one, this one is full width and it's going to be obviously 50%. Then under style, we are going to go over to border. The border type is solid and the border width is 1. The color for this is going to be this dark purple over there, and the border radius is going to be 26. Then under advanced, all the padding is just going to be 1. Then for the second container, while we're here, it's going to be full width at 50%. The justify content is center. And then the padding, we uncheck it again. Top's going to be 3, right's going to be 1, bottom 3, and left 1. So this is what we're actually seeing there building. So you can see there's that little border that we put in where we're going to be putting in this image. And this is going to be the headings that we're going to be putting into the second container. So in this first container, we are going to go and get that image. So get the image and we put it in. Now, what we're looking for is where the focus is for the guy's hand at the meeting. So we're going to select that one and we're going to put it in. Then for the settings of this, we're going to make sure that the alignment, that the width is 100% width. The height we're going to keep in pixels and we're going to say 450. Then the object fit is going to be cover, center, the opacity is going to be 1, and the border radius is going to be 10. Then in advanced, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving a padding inside this image. So here in padding, we're going to say 15 all around, so it goes away from the other border. Now, let's move on to this container over here. So what we're going to be needing inside this one, it's going to be 2 headings, a text container, and a button. So we go get the 2 headings, the text editor, and a button. Now for the settings of this first header, it's going to be who we are. Then for the color of this, it's going to be that blue. And then for the actual typography, it's going to be outfit at 20. It's going to be a weight of 400. Then the line height will be an EM of 1.2. And then the letter spacing is going to be a -1. Then while we're here, the transform can be uppercase. Then also, here in the size, we're going to flip to mobile and we're going to be putting this at 18. Now we can go on to the second heading. So the text here is your online future, our expertise. And then the example, which is just the name of the company, delivers excellence. Then for the style of this, the text color, we're just going to set this to white. And then the typography, it's going to be outfit. Okay, so then the sizing for this, it's going to be a 40, it's a 600, and then everything else can stay the same. Then in mobile, the size is going to be 30. So if we flip back, that is how it's going to look like. Then for the text over here, all we're going to have to do is just change the style so that the text color is white. Moving on to the button, the text here, it's just going to say discover more. And then the typography is definitely going to be white and uppercase. So that was already built into the button. So then we don't have to do anything really there. Now that we've got this part, we are moving right over to this part. So over here, we're going to have to add our container, obviously. For the settings of this, we're going to keep it boxed and everything, but the direction we're going to be putting it at horizontal. Here, we're also putting space between, and the gaps are 0. But something we are going to be putting is just a wrap with no settings. Then under style, the background is going to be an image. It's going to be the one that looks blank. So we select that, and you can see it is actually having lines there. So everything over here can stay exactly how it is. We don't have to change anything. Then in background overlay, we're going to be putting this as a gradient. And this one, it's going to be that purpley color. The second one is going to be an extra dark color. Then this purpley one, we are going to make it pretty much invisible. And what we're going to do is we're going to slot the hue just a little bit into the blue. So we keep the initial RGB kind of in the same, we're just sliding it over to blue. Then the opacity of this, we're going to be setting it to 1. Then in advanced, so for the padding of this container, what we're going to do is we're going to set it to EM, and we're going to delink it, and the top's going to be 5 and the bottom's going to be 5. So inside this container, we're going to add 2 containers. So we'll add the first one and we are just going to duplicate it. For the settings of this first container, it's going to be full width and it's going to be 65%. Then everything else over here can stay the same. Then if we go to advanced, the padding is just going to be 1. Then for the second container, this one, it's going to be 35%, and it also is going to have a padding of 1. Then inside this first container, we are going to have to add another container. So let's just put that in. Then for the settings of this inner container, the justify content is going to be at the end. And also while we're here, the min height for this is going to be about 540. Then for the background, we're going to be putting in an image. It's going to be the one with the computer screens and the glasses. So it's going to be this one here. We're going to say insert. Then for this one, it's going to be center. then no repeat, and cover. Then the background overlay, we're going to be adding colors here. It's going to be a gradient. We're going to be doing the same thing as we did earlier. So we are choosing that stronger purple. Then the second one, we're going to be choosing that darker one. And the first one, we're going to make it transparent about there. And we're again sliding the hue over into blue. Then the opacity is going to be 1. Now this purple is a little bit too purple, so we're just going to drag it down just a little bit so that it's a bit more darker over here, like so. Then if we scroll down and we go into border, the border type is going to be solid, border width is 1, and the border radius is 10. Then in the advanced, for the padding here, we're just going to set 25 for the container. Now inside this container, we're going to need 2 headings, text editor, and a button. But we can just copy these ones over here, and let's just go do that. So take the first one, paste it in. Second one, say copy, paste it over that one. Text editor, copy, paste it over that one. Button, copy, and paste it over that one. Now for the text of this first heading, we are just going to say our value. Then for the text of the second one, can be custom designs, amazing results, choose us for your online excellence. Then the text editor we can keep the same, don't need to do anything there. Then it's just this button. Here obviously you can just say learn more, and it can link to the about us page or something. But we pretty much got everything that we need over there. So for the setting of this container in advance, we put the padding at 1, but having a look over here, it's going to be better at 15. So let's just go change that now. So we'll just put a 15 all around over there. So it'll just simplify this whole process better, because I do realize that this is going to be quite an advanced tutorial here. So inside here, we're going to need 2 containers. We're already going to start off with the first one, and then we'll copy the settings over into the second one. So here we're going to click the plus sign. We're going to put in our container. And then for the settings of this one, the width is going to be full width. But here we're going to be changing it to 250. Then the background, we can put this a nice vivid color. So this accent one is going to work really well over there. Then if we go over to border, here the radius is going to be set to 10. Then under padding here, we are going to put this at about a 20. Then inside this container, we're going to need 3 different widgets. So what we're going to do is we're going to just copy these 3 over here, and we'll just change them slightly. So take these, we're going to say copy, and we'll just paste it into there. So for the settings of our first one, this is just going to change to say our vision, and then the color we're going to set this to white. Then in the second one, we're going to change the text here to elevate your digital presence with our online expertise, but we are going to make it smaller. So we're going to typography, and then it's going to stay at outfit, but we're going to set this to about 25, and the boldness, the weight can be 400. Then if we go into mobile, let's have to double check on that. That actually looks pretty good, so we're just going to keep it like that. Then this one over here, we don't actually have to do anything with it, works just fine. Now because we've made this over here, what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate this whole container with everything in. Then all we have to do is change the text. So we just say duplicate, and obviously not just the text, but we also have to change the color here. So for the color of this actual container, we're actually going to set it to away from the purple, and we're going to set it to that actual blue. And then on the text itself, we're just going to say the title is our mission. The second one can be unleashing your potential in the online space. And then the third one obviously is just the example there. So that is good, and we don't have to do anything there at all. So we are done on this section. Now we can move on to the next one, which is going to be this section right here. Now what we're going to do is we're actually just going to start off with our first container. Now for the settings of this container, we can keep it at box, that's fine. We're going to make it horizontal, and again we're going to be putting space between. Then for the background, what we're going to do is we're going to make it this gradient. We're going to choose that purple, and then the second color can be that strong blue. The degree of angle can be 135. And then the padding here, what we're going to do is going to change this as well to EM. Unlink it, top can be 2 and the bottom can be 2. Now inside here, we're going to be adding a container. So let's go put one in. This also is going to be horizontal and also space between. And the gaps of this one is going to be 0. Now inside this, we are going to be putting in counters. So these are going to be the counters that we're going to be making. So here we're just going to say counter. We're going to take that, put it in, and we'll just set up the settings here first, and then we'll just duplicate it. Okay, so now for the settings of this counter, the ending number here, I'm just going to go with 56. These don't really matter. The suffix can be K plus, so that's looking like there's 56,000. Animation speed can stay the same. And the title here can be projects done. That can stay the same as a div. Then under style, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight down to number. The text color can be white. Then the typography will be outfit 48, the 600 semi-bold, and these line heights and that doesn't actually matter, so that can be staying exactly how it is. Then for the title, this again is going to be white. Typography is going to be outfit. This is going to be a 14. And then transform here is going to be uppercase, and nothing else is needed. Then while we here, we can go into mobile, and we're just going to change these just a little bit. So the number here for the typography, a 30 is going to be fine over there. But then the title, what we're going to do for the typography is we're going to change this to say 14. Okay, so now in desktop, what we can do is we're just going to go over to advanced. Then the width, we're going to say this is custom, and we're going to say this is about a 25%. Then what we're going to do is if we go down to border, here we're going to say solid, and we're going to unlink this. And for the right, we are going to say 1. The border color here, we are going to put this to white, but we're going to make this pretty transparent to about a 20% roundabout. That should be fine. 18% is good. And we are done with that. So we'll have this sort of look going on over here. So now we can duplicate this 3 more times. And what we got here is the perfect counters. They are doing this right here. So the second one, we can just change the actual text and everything should be fine. For the settings of the second counter, we're going to change this to 38. And for the title can be happy clients. Then the second one, we can put maybe a 4.7. We can take out the suffix. And this can be, say, client ratings. The last one, we can say that this is a 35. And the suffix can just be plus. And the title can be awards 1, just like that. And guess what? We are done with this container. So moving right along, we are going into this right here. So let's get started with it. So we're going to start this off with our first container. And for the settings of this, we are going to keep it vertical. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over to advanced because nothing else we have to change. Then in the padding, we're going to change this to EM. And then we're going to unlink it. The top can be 5 and the bottom can be 7. Then inside this container, we're going to be putting in 2 containers. So let's grab our first one, put it in and duplicate this. There we go. So for the settings of our first container, we don't have to do anything with these first 2 tabs. We're going to go straight to advanced. And the padding we're changing to EM, and it's going to be 2 all around. Now in this container, we're going to be putting in 2 headings. So we're going to scroll up. And these 2 here, this our value and custom designs, we're just going to copy this. So click that, both of those, say copy, and we're just going to paste them in. These ones are going to be center aligned. So this first one, the title is going to be what we offer. And in style, we're just going to put it center. Then for the second heading, the title is going to be where strategy meets execution. Your success story begins here. Now this also is going to be in the center, but what we want to do is actually have these 2 sentences on 2 different lines, but we don't want to use 2 headings here. So what we do is here in between execution and your success, we're going to be putting in a break. So it's less than sign, BR, greater than sign. So that is a line break, and we have 2 lines. So now we can move on to the second container. Now here, this is going to be horizontal. The space here is going to be a space in between, and this is going to wrap with no settings there. Then inside this container, we're going to be putting in quite a few containers. So we are going to be doing this design like this. So here we're going to add our first container, and then we can just duplicate it. So then all of them just follow the same pattern. So for the settings of this inner container, we're going to make sure this is full width. We're going to say that this is 32%. Then if we go into style, the border, we're changing the border color to solid. It is going to be 1 pixel. The color is white, and we're just going to put the transparency to that 18 roundabout. There we go. Then the border radius here can be 21. Now, while we're here, what we're going to do is we're going to do this, okay? So that's what's going to happen with hover. So if we go over to hover, here the border style can be solid. It's going to be 1, and the color is going to be that blue that we've been using. And the box shadow is going to be white, and we are going to put this down to say like a 11%. 10 is fine also. So this is what's happening. So you can see that whole effect going on. Now that we've got that hover, we're going to go over to advanced, and we are going to give this a value of 14 pixels, not EM, but pixels. So we just have that sort of spacing there when we have it. Now inside this, we need a new container. So we're going to be doing this in a container over here. So we go to the plus sign, grab a container and put it in. So for settings here, we're going to change this to boxed, and the height is going to be 250. Then we go to style, and in the color of this, we're actually going to set the color first. We're going to do a dark purple, and then we're going to grab that other picture that has the whole grid thing going on, and we select that. So it has that sort of look there. And then all these settings over here don't have to change at all. Then we go over to background overlay. This is going to be a gradient. We're going to do a dark purple, and what we're going to do is we're going to make the transparency about 50% or so, round about there. Then for the second color, going to choose that purple again, and this one we're just going to slide it over till it's just a little bit more gray. Then the location of this one, we're actually going to change this to about a 65%. Then the angle, we're going to be putting it about 215, and the transparency can crank it up. But this is actually still a little bit too purple. So we're going to click the second color, and what we're going to do is we're going to slide it over even more, and we can maybe even slide it into the blue just a little bit. So that positioning is there roundabout. Okay, so now we're going to add the stuff inside this container. So what we need is an icon box and a button. So let's go get that icon box, and then we can just duplicate one of these buttons and paste it right there. Now for the settings of this icon box, this icon, we're going to change it to the globe, that one right there, and we'll say insert. Then the heading, it's going to be website development. Then this example text can stay the same. We're going to make sure the title tag is just a div, so it's not a title. Then under style, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it's on the top, and the alignment is going to be the left. The icon spacing about a 21, and the content spacing, say about a 14. Then if we go over to icon, the color is definitely not going to be that one. It's going to be blue, and the size can be 42. Then the content itself, the color is going to be white, and that's going to be for both of them. So we just make sure that they're both white. Then the typography for the title, it's going to be an outfit, and we're going to set it to a 20. Then the weight can be the 400, and the line height can be a 1.4 pixels. And then obviously there's no spacing. Then the typography of the description, it's going to be enter, it's going to be 16,400. Then the line height can be a 1.4 pixels, and everything else is fine there. Then if we go into advanced, the padding over here, we're going to change to EM, unlink this, and then the bottom can be 2. Then the button, obviously we don't have to change anything. It's just going to be the link for it. So it's already working perfectly like that. Now that we have all that done, now we're going to duplicate this about 6 times. We're just going to make sure we're on the right box. It's going to be the second one of these 3, which highlights everything, including that other hovering effect that we did. So that we are going to duplicate. Now you can see that there's a 2, and we can duplicate it again. So now we got the 3, and then we just keep duplicating. So we need 6. So there's 4, 5, 6. Now all we have to do is just change the icon and the heading of all of these. So the second one, this is going to be the mobile phone. We'll choose that. And the title can be app development. Then for the third one, can be a chart, can be, say, this one here to show that you're improving. And the title is going to be digital marketing. Then the fourth one, the icon be a paintbrush like that, say insert, and it can be graphic design. This fifth one, we're going to go for the layers, can be this icon here, say insert, and then the heading is going to be brand identity. And then the last one, the icon can be one of the search ones, so it can be this one with the pin, and we say insert, and then the title can be search engine optimization. Something I see that I want to improve on is let's make this inner container a little bit more rounded. Very easy to do and easy to replicate across. So what we'll do is we'll just go to the style of that, and we're going to go to the border. Here we can set solid, the width can be 1, and we can do that whole white thing again. So we're going to set it to white, and the transparency can be around that 18-20%. Then the border radius here we can also set to 1. So now it complements that whole design there. So what we'll do here is make sure we're on that container. We just say copy, and on the same container on the other ones, we're just going to say paste style, and you can see that the style is replicated. So again, we just paste style, paste style, paste style, and paste style. So now that looks like that. It's a lot better, and we're going to have that hover effect, which is going to be terrific. So we'll just try it like that. How cool is that? And if you want to actually make the shadow that's on the hover a little bit more brighter and whiter, you can do so. And again, you can just copy the style and it'll affect all the others. Now it's time for this section. We are almost halfway. Now let's start off with our new container for this section. So we go Flexbox, we'll choose that one right there. And for the settings of this can be full width. We can say the direction is horizontal. We'll put this to the end. We'll set the gap to 0, and we are going to wrap this. So we just choose wrap, and we choose nothing around it. Then under style, we are going to give this a nice vivid color. So we go to style, we go to the background, and we're going to choose that blue. Okay, very strong, huh? So background overlay, we're going to do a gradient, and we're going to choose that dark purple. But the transparency here, we're going to be putting it down to about a 50%. And then for the second one, we're going to choose that dark purple again. Then the location of this one is going to be, say, 55%. And the type is going to be radial. The position is going to be, say, top left. And then the opacity is going to be set to 1. Then in advanced, we're just going to set this to 0 pixels. Okay, now inside this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting in a container. So we go grab that container and we're going to put it in. And for the settings of this is going to be full width, but the width we're going to change to pixels, and we're giving it 640. Then the justify content, we want it in the center. And then for the advanced settings for this, we're going to change the padding to EM. We're going to unlink this. The top is going to be 7, right is 5, bottom is 7, and the left is going to be 1. Now that we have that, we are going to scroll up till we get to our value again. We're going to copy this, and we're also going to copy this text one. So we just say that, hold control, select the second one, say copy, and we're going to paste this inside this container. Now for the settings of this first heading, all we have to do is change the title, and it can be experience the magic of this company called Example, and contact us to discuss your project. So the second one, we can just duplicate this just to be a little bit longer. So we just say paste, and then underneath this, we're going to be putting in the progress bar. So we say plus, and we say progress, that one right there, and we put it in. So for the settings of this, we're going to change it to, from my scale, we can say design. The thing can be span. Here we can put it maybe at like an 86%. And the percentage, we're going to say display percentage, we're going to say hide. Then under the style, the color of the progress bar can be that nice luminous blue. It can be a height of 10 and 34 pixels for the border radius. You can see it says web design there. We don't actually want that. So in context, in content, we're just going to take this out, this inner text, because we don't want it. We just want the progress bar. We don't want actually writing. Then if we go back to style, for the title color, we're going to change this to white. Then for the typography, this has to be Inter, but we're going to keep it at 16. 400 is fine. And this line height, we're going to change to EM. And this one, we're going to give it a 3. And that is good to go. So, and this we just have to duplicate 3 more times. So say duplicate, duplicate, and duplicate. So now we got 3 of them. The second one, we can say web development like that, and we can give it a different percentage. Maybe we can put it a little bit higher, really show off our skills. Then the third one can be digital marketing, maybe drop that a little bit, but not too much. And this fourth one, we can put it as SEO optimization, and that's fine. Now we're done with that, we're going to be putting an image here, but we have to be tricky on how we put it. So let's grab the widget first. So we're going to put it in and make sure that it is here next to this container that has all that stuff. But we're going to take the container and we're going to put it on top. Now for the settings of this image, let's go and grab our image. It's going to be this one with the laughing people, or we say insert. Then for style, we're going to put the width at 100%, and the height, we're going to go to percentage, and we're going to say 100%. In the object fit, we're going to say cover, and the opacity here, we're going to put it to a 0.8. Then under advanced, what we're going to do is the width here, we're going to change it to custom, and we're going to say that this is 50%. And that is what we need to do there. So that is how we do that whole sort of design there, which is a very cool way of doing it. And guess what? We are done with this section. And for those of you who are still with me on this, congratulations, man. This has taken me hours to film, eh? True story. Well, we are going to finish this. Now we're going to add this section right here. So let's get started. Now we're going to start off with our first container right there. Now for the settings of this, we can keep it at boxed. We can make sure that it's vertical. And the only thing we're going to change on the screen is going to set the gaps to 0. Now for the style, we are going to choose that image where the gradient's on the top, and we say select. And then the position of this can be top center, and repeat is no repeat. Then everything else can stay the same really. The default size is fine. Then if we go into background overlay, the background color is going to be that purple, but we're going to edit it a little bit. Slide it just a little bit on the hue and also on the actual XY as well. The opacity of this is going to be like a 0.5, so we can keep that there. Then if we go to padding, we're going to change this into EM. We are going to unlink these things, and the top one's going to be 5 and the bottom is going to be 7. Now for this container, we're going to add 2 inner containers. So the first one's going to be the heading, and the second one's going to have a whole bunch of icons and buttons and stuff. So we're going to add our first container and we'll duplicate. So for the settings of this first container, this is going to be boxed, and the pixel stretch is 720. Then under padding, we're going to change this to EM, and we're putting this to 2. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go up, and we're going to copy these 2 headings here, because we don't need to actually change any settings. We say copy for the both of them, and we paste them inside. Now for the text of this first one, we're just going to say how it works. And for the text of the second one, it's unlock astonishing results with just 3 simple steps. Now, done with that container. Next container. This one's going to be boxed as well, but we're not going to change any settings there. Then we're going to make it horizontal, and we're going to do space between. Gaps can be 0. And then this one also wrap, but no settings. So these things we don't touch. Now inside this one, we're going to go and grab another container, and we're going to put that in. Now let's play with this. So this is full width. We're going to say this is 25%, and everything else here we can keep the same. And under style, we're going to go to border. We're going to say this is solid. We're going to unlink it. And then on the right, we are going to say that this is 1. And we are going to choose a dark purple and actually not do anything to it. Then under advanced, the padding, we're going to change to EM, and we're going to set this to 2. Then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll up, and we're going to grab these icon boxes, but we're going to change it just a little bit. So we're going to grab the icon box, and we're going to choose this button as well. And we're going to say copy, and we're going to paste that right in here. Okay, so for the icon, we're going to say one of the comments. We can do this icon right here, say insert. The default view, we're going to say it's stacked. It's going to be a circle. And then the title can be free consultations. Everything else is fine. Then we go to style. Then this is going to be center aligned. Then the icon spacing can be 14 and this can be 7. Then the icon definitely going to be that primary blue, but the secondary we're just going to set to white. And the size here can be 35. Then everything else can stay exactly the same. Then for this button, we're just going to make it center. So now it's sitting like that. And we are done. So this container that's actually holding the icon box and the button, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this 3 times. So we're going to say duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Now you got all 4 of them. So that's the sort of look that we're going with. It's a nice highlight in between, nothing too fancy. And let's go and actually edit those. Okay, for the icon over here of the second section, we're going to say that this is the desktop. So we're going to look for that one there. We say insert, and the title is going to be discover the product. The third one is going to be that layers one again, which is a layers icon. And then the title can be wireframe and production. The fourth one here, the icon can be the newspaper. So it can be that one there. And the title can be prototype application. And there is our section. So we're moving right along. And now we are starting to get more tricky, because now we're going to be doing this part over here. And this is the big one. This is awesome. And there's no code on this. So let's get started with this. So here we're going to add our first container again. So for the settings of this, we're going to keep it as boxed. We're changing only the direction to horizontal. We're going to do the space between, and we're going to wrap this without doing anything there, except for the gaps we are going to set to 0. Then moving right along to advanced, padding is EM. We unlink it. Top is 5 and bottom is 5. Okay. Now, inside this, we are going to need 3 containers. So we are going to go and get our first one and duplicate it 2 more times. There's our 3 containers. For the settings of this first container, we are making this horizontal and space between. Then in padding, we're going to switch the padding to EM, unlink it, and top is 1, right is 1, bottom is 3, and left is 1. Now inside this container, we are going to need 2 headings. So we're going to scroll up and we're going to copy these 2 here. So select the first one, select the second one, say copy, come down and paste them in here, just like that. So it takes this first one, we're going with navigating the online world with this company example, your trusted partner. Then under style and typography, we're just going to set this to 30. So it's just a little bit smaller. In this text portion, we can leave the same. Now we're going to move on to our second container. Now for the settings of this, we're going to keep it full width, but the width we're changing it to pixels. It's going to be 960 pixels. Direction is horizontal, and we're going to wrap the sucker. Now inside this, we are going to need 4 different containers. So go plus sign, add our first one, and then just duplicate it. There we go, 4 different containers. Now for the settings of this first one, we are going to keep it full width, change it to pixels, and we're going to say that this is 620, and then the min height is 300. This is also going to be horizontal, and we're doing space between, gaps 0, and we're wrapping this with no settings. Now for the background, what we're going to do is make it a gradient, and we're going to do that purpley thing again, so dark purple. And then the second one, we can do this line color purple. Now this first dark purple, we're going to shift this over to a blue, and the second one, we are also going to shift this over just to a little bit of a blue. Then this is going to be radial, and it's going to say top left for position. Then if we go down to border, we're going to give this a border radius of say 10. Then padding, this is going to be 0, and inside this we're going to be putting in 2 things. We're going to be doing a call to action, and we're going to be doing an image. So let's do our first one. We're going to say call to action. That's it there. And then we're going to add an image and put it there. We just have to make sure the call to action is on top. Okay, for the settings of this call to action, choose image. We are not going to choose an image. And for the skin, we're going to say that this is a classic. Then under content, there's going to be no icon. The title is going to be timely and transparent communication. The title tag can be a div. Then this can stay the same. And then the button, we can say learn more. Okay, then under style, the height of this can be 300. We're going to left align it and put everything in a vertical middle. Then the padding, we're going to change this to EM, unlink it. Top it can be 2 and bottom can be 2. Then if we go to content, the title typography can be outfit. We're going to put this at a 25. We'll give it a weight of 300. And the line height can be EM at say a 1.3. And we don't need spacing. Then the typography for the description can be inter. We are going to be putting this at 14, weight 400. And we are going to be putting this as an EM, and we're going to put this at 1.4. Then the title color for the colors, it's going to be that luminous blue, so we're going to go to that blue as I say that. And the description, the color is going to be white. Then for the button, the typography is going to be outfit, and we're going to keep it at a 13 and a 500 weight over there. Then the line height can be a pixel of 1, and the letter spacing can be a pixel of 2. And just make sure that it's uppercase. Then text color, the text is going to be white and the background is going to be that luminous blue. Border width, we're going to say 0. Okay, so now we go over to advanced, and then the width here we're going to change to custom, and we're going to say that this is 50%. And then finally, for the content, the skin here, let's just change it back to cover. Now we're going to do this image. So this image, we're going to go use that actual PC. So let's just go select that Apple PC. We say select. Then under style, the width is 100% and the height is going to be 300 pixels. And this is going to be a cover. Then the object position is going to be center left. And then if we go into advanced, the width here, we're going to go custom, and this can be 50%. And then final thing is, let's just go back to that call to action. Under style, the box, let's just add the left to a 2 EM as well. So what we're going to do is the top's going to be 2, the right's going to be 0, bottom's 2, left 2, because we just want to move that text and button away from that actual center. Wasn't looking so great. With an EM of 2 on the left, it's going to be way better. Okay, moving on to the second container. For the settings of the second container, we are going to say it's a full width. We're going to say that this is PX. We're going to say that this is 300. And the min height is 300. Then the justify content is at the end and the gaps are 0. Then for the style, the background color can be that dark purple, and we're just going to slide this over onto the blue a little bit, and we're just going to make it a little bit more gray. Then if we go over to border, we're just going to give this a border radius of 10. Now inside this, we're going to need 2 things. We're going to need an image and an icon box. So we're going to say image and icon box. So get the icon box right there and put it in. Now, the image. So we are going to select that rocket. You'll say select. Then under style, we're going to say 100% width. The height is going to be 400, and we're going to say that this is cover. Object position is center. That's fine. Then the border radius, we're going to come here and we're going to do something different. So we're going to unlink this. And then the bottom is going to be 10 and the left is going to be 10. Then if we go to advanced, here we're going to unlink the margin, and on the top we're going to say that this is -100. Okay, for the settings of this icon box, we're going to remove the icon. The heading can be boost traffic and sales. We can leave this stuff over here, and the HTML tag is going to be a div. Then if we go into style, it's going to be left alignment. Custom spacing is 14. Then the content, the color is white for the heading. Then the settings is going to be an outfit of 20. And the line height can be a 1.4 pixels. And then we don't need letter spacing. And something else you should do is just change the weight to say 400 while we're here, just to make it a little bit better there. Then the typography of the description. All we have to do is just make this a little bit smaller. So we're going to set this to about a 14. We're going to stay 400, and that should be fine just like that. Now, if we go to advanced, we're going to change this to EM. We're going to unlink this. The top's going to be 2. Right will be 1. Bottom 0. Left 2. Then custom width and it is going to be, say, 70%. Then what we're going to do is we're going to change this position to absolute. We'll make sure it's on the left and top. It can be 0 there, and this can be 21. And there we go. That is how we did that. Now let's move on to our next container. So for our third container, here, let's change these settings. So this is going to be full width. It's going to be pixels and at 300, and the top is 300. Then the justify content is going to be center, and the colors and everything is going to be that whole thing again. So we're going to go over to style, say color, we're going to be that dark purple, and we're going to shift it over a little bit, so more into the blue and more into the grays. Then for the background picture, we're going to do that grid again, and this we can scroll down and we say the custom width can be custom, and we're going to change this to pixels, and we're going to say that this is 50. Background overlay as well, make it a gradient. Then we're choosing that purple and we're going to edit it. Then we go over to, we're going to slide that over quite a lot this time, and we're going to shift it over to blue. Then for the bottom one, we're going to select the purple again, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go over to the blue, and we'll just shift it over a little bit. Then this is going to be radial. This position is going to be top left, and we're going to put this to a 0.8 transparency. Now inside this, we're going to do an icon box, a rating, and we're going to copy some of this text stuff over here. So we'll copy this icon box, we're going to paste it in. We'll copy this text one over here, paste it in, and we're going to go get ourselves a rating. So rating, take that, and we put it in. Okay, so let's just put this into the right order. So it's icon box, rating, and then the text. So for the icon box, we're going to give this a title of 4.7 plus. And then for the description, we're going to say client ratings. Then we can keep this as a div. And then if we go into the style we can take out the actual text. The content spacing can take out. And then the title typography can be 48, can be a 600, and then this EM will just drop it down to a 1.2. Then for the description, this can be outfit as well, and this can be 20, 400 is fine, and everything else is fine. Then in advanced, we are going to take out all this stuff here, so we'll just remove. And the width we can change to default, so it can be like that. And also while we're here, we're going to change this back to a default position, so it looks like that. Then for the rating, you can say that this is 5. We're going to center justify this. Then under style, the size can be 28 and the spacing can be 10. And then if we go back into content, let's give this a rating of say 4.5. Yeah, that works perfect. Now we go on to this text. So this text, we're going to center a line, and then for the sizing of this, we are going to put this to a 14. Then just to make this really nice and rounded, we're going to go onto this container again. And what we're going to do is in the style, we're going to go to border, and let's make this a solid. We're going to give this a 1, and then the border color can be that white, and we're going to drop down the opacity to about 20% of it. And the border radius is going to be 10. Then also while we're here, let's give this an EM padding of 2. And something that I also want to do is also make this text a little bit smaller here. So I'll go to the content, I'll just remove this second one, so it's just a little bit better. Do this container, it's going to fit into here. So this container, it's going to be full width, it's going to be pixels, it's 620, and the height is 300. Direction is going to be horizontal, and we're going to do that whole end thing again with a 0 gaps and do the wrap. Background is going to be a gradient, a very easy one. We're going to choose the very strong purple, this pinky purple over there, and then the second color can be that blue. Then for the settings of the first one, the first color is going to be 26%. This can be linear, and we're going to give this a 135 degree. Just like that. Then if we go to border, we're going to change this border to 10 as well. And then in advanced, this is going to be a 0 padding. So what we need inside this box is we need a new call to action, and we need an image. So let's go and get that call to action. Gonna get that call to action, put it in, and we're going to go get an image. So we'll get the image and put it in. Okay, so call to action image. So for the settings of this call to action is it's going to be cover, no image. Then in content, it's going to be responsive and scalable solutions. And then we can change that to a div. Description can stay as a div. And then a button is going to be learn more. Then in style, we're going to give this a 300 and a padding of 2 with a left alignment and vertical position of middle. Then for the typography, it's going to be an outfit, but we're going to be putting it at 25. And we're going to make this pretty light at 300. Everything else can stay the same. The pixels here can be 1.3 for line height. Then for description, it's going to be enter. We're going to be putting this at 14. The weight can be the same, and the pixel line height can be 1.4. And then we just must make sure that both are properly white in title and description. Then the button, we're going to be doing a little bit different here. The text color is going to be white, and the background is going to be black. Then under hover, we're going to reverse that. It's black text and white background. In the border width here, we're actually going to take it out. So we're just going to say it's 0. So it actually just fills out like that. Okay. Then in hover effects, what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is none. And that is good. Then while we're here, we're going back to box. This 2 pixels of padding isn't good enough. We're going to just change this to actual EM. And we're going to change that. That makes it so much better. Then if we go to advanced, we're going to change this to custom. We're going to say that this is 50%, and that's good like that. And now we're going to choose our image. So let's go get our image. It's going to be this phone. We're going to say select. Then the width of this thing is going to be 100%. It's going to be 300 pixels. This will be cover, and it's going to be bottom left. Then if we go to advanced, the width also is going to be custom at 50%. Then the self-align, we're going to be putting this at the end. Okay, now we are going to do the box that's right here, which is this container there. So for the settings of this is going to be full width. We're going to do pixels, and this is going to be 320. Now, that is all the settings we have to do for this, because inside this, we have to put in a new container. So let's go get that container. And for the settings of this container, it is going to be boxed, but the height here is going to be 640. Justify content is in the center. Then the background for this is going to be gradient. We're going to do that luminous purple. And the second color is that blue. The position is 25%, and the other one's going to be 100%. And then the degrees is 135. So this is how that's going to look like. And it's complementing this one here. And then if we go to border, we have to give this a 10. Advanced, we're changing this to EM, and this is going to be 2. So that's the sort of look that we're going to go for. So inside this, we're going to need an icon box, the text editor, and a button. So let's go get that icon box, put it in, get the text editor, put it in, and a button. And we just make sure it's in the right order. Okay, icon box, let's do this. Here we're going to go get the phone. We'll get this one, not that one. This is going to be stacked, and it's going to be a circle. Now the heading of this is going to be premium support. And here we are just going to give a number. And we must just make sure that this is also a div for the title tag. Then everything here is going to be pretty easy. So here the icon spacing is going to be 21 and a 7 for the content spacing. The icon itself, it's going to be white, and that other color is going to be the blue, so it looks like that. The size is going to be at 35 pixels. Everything else can stay the same there. Then in the content, text color is white. Typography, this is going to be outfit at 20, can be a 400, and a line height of 1.4. Okay, then the description, we're going to change that, so we're going to do this number. It's going to be outfit at 25. This can be a little bit lighter at 300, and the line height should be a 1.3. Okay, we are getting there. Now this text, we are going to go and make it center aligned, definitely enter, but we're going to put this at a 14. And that is all we have to do there. Then the button, we're going to change this up a little bit though. So the text of this one is going to be call now. Then in style, it's center. The color, text is going to be white. The background color is actually going to be gradient, because we have to do it to gradient, and both of these are going to be black. And then when we hover, we're going to have to change it again. So text color is going to be black, background is going to be gradient, and both of these are set to white. So it does that. And we are done. And we are done with all these settings. Now, the last thing we're going to do is just to make this container always be the same size as everything else. So we're going to click this container, and in advanced, we're going to make this grow. So it'll always be the same size no matter where the screen is. Because on certain screens, it might just move over. So we are done with this entire section. And now, believe it or not, we're getting into the good stuff. So we're going into the last one, that is this crazy little monstrosity. And we're going to do 6 of them. So let's get started. Okay, so now we're going to add our main container and the settings for this container. And here we're just going to put the gaps at 0. Then if we go to advanced, the padding we're changing to EM, unlink it, bottom at 7. So it's going to look like that. Now, here we're going to add 2 containers. So we go first one and duplicate. For the settings of the first one, this is going to be boxed, and we're going to put it at maybe a 640. And then the padding is going to be EM, and it's going to be 2. Now we can just scroll up the website, and these 2 headings here, we're just going to copy them. So click the first one, control, click the second one, copy, come down and paste. Alrighty, the title of the first one is going to be featured projects, and then the second is going to be unleashing the power of innovation and creativity. Okay, moving right along to the second container. Okay, so this one is going to be boxed. The direction is going to be horizontal. There's going to be the space in between, and we're wrapping this sucker. And this is where it's going to get interesting. So we're going to add a container inside this guy. Now, the settings of this container, it's going to be full width at a 32%. Everything's going to be center aligned for the items, and the gaps are 0. Then in style, we're going straight to border. It's going to be a solid with 1. Then the border color, let's go with this extra light background, this purple right over here. Okay. And the border radius is going to set to 10. That should be good. Okay, now we go over to advanced, and padding is 0. Okay, so now we're going to go get an icon box, and then we're going to get an image. So we go get image, put it in there, and then we're going to put another container. Okay, so let's do this first icon box. So for the icon, we're stripping this out. And yes, it does need to be an icon box. For the title, we're putting digital branding, and for the description, we're going to say Chanel. The title tag is going to be div. Then under style, the alignment is going to be the left, and then let's just stylize this content. So the color of the title is going to be that nice luminous blue. Then the typography is going to be outfit at 14. The weight is going to be 500, and it's going to be uppercase. And then this other stuff don't need, just like this. Okay. Now the description. So the description color is going to be white. The typography is going to be outfit, and it is going to be at a 25. The weight is going to be 300. Then the line height is going to be EM, and it's going to be a 1.3. So it's going to look pretty much like this. Then if you're going to padding, there it's going to be 21 all around. The width is going to be 100% width, and we should be good to go. Next is going to be the image. Now this one is going to be that perfume bottle, this one right over here, and we say insert. Then the image resolution can actually be full. The width is going to be 100%. The height is going to be 500 pixels. The object fit will be cover. The opacity here is going to be a 0.5, just like that. Then here in CSS filters, we are going to take down the saturation, so it looks like that. Then in hover, we're going to put the opacity to 1, and then the transition speed a 1 second. So it's going to do this. Okay, now we're going to go do this container. Now, what we should do first before it gets very tricky is we're going to do everything inside this container before we actually do this container, because we are going to be doing this. So you don't want to be keep on working in it, and it's going to go up and down, up and down. So let's do that. So inside this container, we're putting in 2 containers and duplicate. Then for the settings of the first one, the direction is going to be horizontal, and then the gaps, we're unlinking this. The column is going to be 0, the row is going to be 21. and then we wrapping the sucker. There, what we're going to do is we're going to go to style and to the border. Now the border type is going to be solid, and then we're going to unlink this, and then the bottom is going to be 1. Then the color is going to be white, and it's going to be quite transparent, so around about there. Then if we go into padding, we're going to unlink this, and the bottom is going to be 21. Now inside this we're going to have 4 icon boxes, but we are only going to be using 1 for now, and then we're going to duplicate it. Okay, so we're going to copy this one over here. We're going to say copy, and we're going to paste it inside this icon box just like that, and then we'll just edit the sizing here a little bit. For the actual title of this, we're going to say it's a client, and then we're going to give a name. So I'm just going to go Brian Emmanuel. I know in Spanish it's Emmanuel. Then for the style, we're going to keep it left, but in the content we're going to change the sizing. So for the typography of the title, we're going to go and say that this is Inter, and it's going to be a 13 pixels. Then the line height can be EM, and it can be a 1.5. Then in typography of the description, this can be 16, and we'll make it a 600 semi-bold. And then this EM can also be 1.5. Now we're going to go over to advanced, and then the padding, we can take this out. And then the width, what we're going to do is going to say custom, and we're going to say that this is 50%. Okay, so now that we have all that, now we can duplicate it 3 more times. And that's what we're doing there. Then just for the text of the second one. So this first title that says client, we're going to say date. And then the second one, we're going to put in a date. Then for the third one, the title can be location, and the description can be the country. Then on the fourth one can be budget, and we'll give in a price. Okay, now we move on to the second container. Now with this one, we're going to keep everything the same except for the padding. So the padding we're going to unlink, and we're going to put 21 for the top and 21 for the bottom. Then inside this, we're going to go and get the text editor and a button. Now both of these we don't have to do anything with. The text is right at enter at 16 and it's white, and then the button we have that same design going on there. Okay, so now I'm going to close these 2 containers that we just made over here, and now I'm going to fixate on that container we left for last. Now for the settings of this, we're going to make sure it's 100%. Then the gaps are going to be 0. Then what we're going to do is go over the style and board a background overlay, and this is going to be a color, and it's going to be this dark purple, but we're going to shift it over to blue, somewhere around there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then the transparency, we're going to put it to a 0.7. The border we can change to solid. We're going to unlick the width, and then the top we're just going to set to 1, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set it to white, and we're going to make it around about transparency of that. Then under padding, we're going to go put a 21 all around. And then the position, we're going to set this to absolute. Then the only thing we're going to change here, instead of the vertical orientation being the top, we're going to put it on the bottom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down to transform. Now here we are going to go to offset. And then the y-axis, we're going to set it to 225. And then in hover, we're going to go to offset, and we're going to set this to 0. So it's going to do that. Okay. Now the container, the parent container that houses this icon box and the image here, if we go to layout and we go to additional options, the overflow is going to be hidden. So now that is what we got going on here. So there is that exact thing happening there. And then the last thing that we can do is if we go to style and we go to the border, in hover, we're also going to put this to a solid with a border of 1, and we're going to change the color to the luminous. And then the luminous blue, the box, and then the box shadow, we're going to set this to white. We are going to put it down to about 25, and then the blur can be about 60. So it'll do like that. Okay, now all we have to do is duplicate this 5 more times. So we just say duplicate, and it's 3, 4, 5. So now there's 6 here. Then all we have to do is change the titles and the images of all these others. This stuff we can just leave the same really. So for the titles of these, this one can be digital marketing. The customer was Nike. And then the picture we can change to the Nike shoes. So there it is, and we say insert. Then the third one, it's app development. This one's elegant homes. And then the image can be the laptop. This one here. It's quite fitting. Then this one, let's change the headings. This one's SEO. This one is Fresh Bites Catering. And we're going to get the oysters. So it's this one here. Let's go to the next one. This one can be graphic design. And then the customer can be Harmony Spa and Wellness. So this one will go get those oranges with the lady's face in water. Just like that. Next one. This one can also be digital branding, but we'll change the name to Eco Kitchens. And then we'll go get the picture of the kitchen. That one right there. So that is what's going on there. Okay. And that is one of the hardest sections of this whole thing. So now we just got 2 more sections and we are done. So moving right along, let's go and get our first container. Just like that. Now the settings of this container is going to be boxed, and then this one's going to be 1512. Okay, stick with me here. Then direction is going to be horizontal, and then if we go into advanced, the margins are going to unlink, and the bottom is going to be a 7 pixel, and the padding is going to be 0. Inside this, we're going to add a container. Now for settings of this container, this one's also going to be boxed. This one's going to have a min height of 300. It is also horizontal. The justify contents at the start. Then in style, we're going to put a picture. Now it's going to be this one that are the people in the office. We say select. Then this one is going to be full, center, no repeat, and cover. Then the background overlay, what we're going to do is going to darken this. So we're going to choose black. And then the opacity can be a 0.6. Then in border, we're going to put a border radius of 10. So it's going to look like that. Then in padding, this is all going to be EM. Going to unlink. The top is going to be 10. The right is going to be 3. The bottom is going to be 3, and the left is going to be 3. Now inside this, we're going to add another container. So this is going to be full width, but it's going to be at 50%. So you can see it sitting like that. Then if we go to style, we're going to choose a gradient background, and we're going to do this dark purple over here. And then the bottom, we're just going to set it to transparent, something a little different. Then we're going to go over to border. This is going to be a solid. It's going to be a 1 pixel. It's going to be that white that is quite transparent. And the border radius is going to be 10. Then if we go to advanced, the margin is going to be EM. We're going to unlink this, and then the bottom is going to be -10. Then in the padding, we're going to EM, and this is going to be 3 all around. Okay, so let's go put what we need in here. So if we scroll up, we are going to go and get this heading over here, and we are going to copy this over here as well. Then we just say copy. We come into this section over here, and we say paste. And then we're going to go and get a button. So this button over here is fine. We'll put that in. So for the text of this, it's going to say Pioneering Excellence, discover the example advantage. Then the right up over here, we just can take out 1 just to give it a little something. Then the button is going to say discover more. Then it can go about the services or whatever the case is. Cool. Now we're going to move on to the next and final section. Okay, so here we're going to add a new container. Now for the settings of this container, this is also going to be boxed. The direction is down, where the gaps are going to be 0. Then under advanced, we are going to flip the padding into EM. Everything is going to be 0, but the bottom is going to be 7. And inside this container, we're going to be putting 2 containers. I'm sure if you actually stuck around, you have learned quite a lot of cool stuff in this tutorial. Nothing on the internet is this comprehensive. The settings of this first container is going to be boxed. The width is 640 pixels. And then in advanced, we are switching padding into EM, and we are putting in 2s. Then inside here, we just have to scroll up, and we are going to go and fetch these 2 headings. We're going to say copy, and we're going to put them in here. Now the first one can say the testimonials, and the second one is going to be the client feedback and reviews. Moving quite along to the next container, this one is also boxed. This one's horizontal and space between, and this is going to be wrapping with no settings. And that is that. So now we're just going to add in the testimonial carousel. So let's go get the testimonial carousel. So it's this one here, and we slap that sucker in. Okay, so we are going to delete the last two slides, and we're just going to concentrate on the first one. So this one, let's go get an image. It's going to be one of these guys. It doesn't really matter which one at this point. Then the name, we're going to give him a name. I'm going to say Derek Thompson, and then the title is going to be Thompson & Co. So it's really the name and the company that they work for. Okay, so now we have that. Then we can just duplicate it, say 3 times, and then the second one we'll just change the image to this guy, and then the third one to someone else, say to this lady right here. So now we've got 3 items here that we can go and customize to whoever that we need to. So let's go and stylize the skin. So the layout, we're going to say the image above, then slides per view is going to be 3, and slides to scroll is going to be 1. Then the width here we're setting to 100%. Let's see in additional options. Do we need to change anything? Yes. Lazy load, we're going to say yes. Then in style, the space between is going to be 21. The color is going to be that dark purple. The border radius is going to be 10. The border width, we should actually put 1 in here. So let's just put it at 1. And then the color can be that cool white. So we're going to go white, and we're going to make it pretty transparent. Then the padding here, it's going to be unlinked, and it's going to be 3, 2, 3, 2. The in content, text color is white. The typography, that is all good. We don't have to do anything with that. The name, we are going to make it a lot smaller, so it's also going to be white. Then this outfit is going to be 16, and everything else is good. Then the next one, this color is going to be that luminous blue. Then the typography is going to be 14. The weight can also stay the same, and that's looking good. Then we are going to go over to image. Nothing really to do there. The navigation, we're going to set the active color to that luminous blue, and the color can be white. Looking at this over here, we should actually make these a little bit more spaced out. So if we go into slides, this padding, we're going to change it from pixels, we're going to change it to EM, and we'll do the same thing again. So we'll set it to 3232. So it's going to be 3232. Yeah, EM definitely looks better. And now what we're going to do is we're going to publish, because we have officially done one of the most complicated tutorials I've ever had to make in a video. 6 hours later. Publish! I still have to edit this, by the way. It's going to take me a lot more than 6 hours to go through all this footage and really just clean it up and really condense it as much as possible. You have officially got everything you need now to go and build out everything in this website. And now it's going to be a hell of a lot quicker, because now you can copy all these different pieces and you can paste it in all the different pages. Except for the contact us page, you just have to make the form. But right now, you have all the skill and everything just to make a gradient on the background on the form. Your skill sets have vastly improved. And I'll see you in the next one. I hope you liked this video. If you did, smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing as well. That stuff makes a big difference to a small channel like mine. If you have any suggestions or anything, then just put a comment down below. Let me see what I can do. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.